At 63, Jim Carrey finally reveals the truth about Hollywood. At 63, Jim Carrey is no longer the unstoppable force of comedy that dominated Hollywood for decades. The man who once made millions laugh in films like Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber now lives a much quieter life, far away from the spotlight that made him famous. But behind the jokes, the wild facial expressions, and the unforgettable characters, there has always been another side to Jim Carrey. A side filled with loss, questions about fame, and growing frustration with the very industry that made him a superstar. In recent years, Carrey has shocked fans with cryptic interviews, harsh criticism of Hollywood, and a sudden step away from acting. So what really happened to Jim Carrey? Why did one of the biggest comedy stars in history walk away from the spotlight? And why are some people convinced he knows things about Hollywood that others are afraid to talk about? 1. The rise of a comedy icon. Long before he became one of the highest-paid actors in the world, Jim Carrey's story began with struggle. He grew up in Ontario, Canada, in a working-class family that often struggled financially. At one point, things became so difficult that Carrey and his family were forced to live out of a van while his parents tried to get back on their feet. Despite those hardships, Jim had something that set him apart: an incredible ability to make people laugh. By the time he was a teenager, he was already performing stand-up comedy in local clubs. But the road to success wasn't easy. During his first big performance at a Toronto comedy club, Carrey walked on stage wearing a bright polyester suit and bombed completely. The audience booed him off stage. For many young comedians, that would have been the end. But Jim Carrey didn't quit. Instead, he studied the craft, sharpened his timing, and returned with a completely different style. One that mixed physical comedy, wild impressions, and fearless energy. Eventually, he moved to Los Angeles to chase his dream. And that's when everything started to change. 2. Becoming the king of comedy. By the early 1990s, Jim Carrey had become one of the most recognizable faces in comedy. His breakout role came on the sketch comedy show In Living Color, where his outrageous characters quickly made him a fan favorite. Hollywood soon took notice. Then came an incredible run of films that turned him into a global superstar. In 1994 alone, Carrey starred in 3 massive hits: Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. Almost overnight, he became one of the most bankable stars in the world. Studios rushed to cast him in blockbuster comedies, and audiences loved every second of it. But while the world saw a comedian at the top of his game, Jim Carrey was quietly dealing with something far more complicated behind the scenes. 3. The pain behind the laughter. Despite his enormous success, Carrey has spoken openly about the personal pain he carried during those years. He struggled with depression for much of his life. At one point, he even relied on medication to cope with the emotional pressure of fame. Carrey later explained that the constant demand to be funny, to always be the entertainer, could become exhausting. He once described depression in a way that surprised many people. He said depression can feel like your body telling you it no longer wants to play the character you've created for the world. That insight revealed something important. For Jim Carrey, the larger-than-life persona people loved might not have been the real him. And over time, that realization began pushing him toward a completely different path. 4. Turning against Hollywood. As the years passed, Carrey began speaking more openly about the darker side of the entertainment industry. He criticized Hollywood culture for being superficial and obsessed with image. He even shocked many viewers when he publicly condemned the standing ovation Will Smith received at the 2022 Oscars after slapping Chris Rock on stage. Carrey said he was disgusted by the reaction from the audience. To him, it represented something deeper about the culture of Hollywood. He argued that the industry often protects its own, even when behavior crosses a line. Those comments immediately sparked controversy. Some people applauded him for speaking honestly. Others accused him of attacking fellow actors. Either way, it was clear Jim Carrey was no longer interested in playing by Hollywood's rules. 5. Walking away from fame. Then came the announcement that stunned fans. In 2022, Jim Carrey revealed that he was seriously considering retirement from acting. During an interview, he explained that he felt he had already accomplished everything he set out to do. He said something that caught everyone's attention. "I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough." For someone who had spent decades chasing success, that statement felt almost revolutionary. Instead of chasing more fame, more money, or more attention, Carrey chose something different. He stepped away from Hollywood and began focusing on painting and art. His paintings, often colorful, political, and deeply emotional, became another way for him to express his thoughts about the world. And for the first time in years, it seemed like he had found peace. 6. The controversial statements. But even after stepping away from acting, Jim Carrey continued making headlines. In several interviews, he hinted that the entertainment industry hides uncomfortable truths. At times, his comments about secret power structures and manipulation within Hollywood sparked heated debate online. Some fans believe Carrey is simply speaking metaphorically about the influence of powerful people in entertainment. Others have interpreted his words much more literally. Regardless of how people interpret them, his statements have only added to the mystery surrounding his disappearance from the spotlight. Was Jim Carrey pushed out of Hollywood? Or did he simply choose to walk away? The truth may be far more complicated. 7. Life today. Today, Jim Carrey lives a much quieter life. He spends much of his time focusing on art, reflection, and personal growth. Occasionally he makes public appearances, but nothing like the constant spotlight he once lived under. Friends say he has gone through a major philosophical transformation. Instead of chasing fame, he now talks about spirituality, creativity, and understanding the deeper meaning of life. For someone who spent decades making the world laugh, it's a very different chapter. But perhaps it's the chapter he needed the most. Jim Carrey's story is one of the most fascinating journeys in Hollywood. From a struggling comedian living out of a van, to one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and finally to a man searching for deeper meaning beyond fame. His career gave millions of people laughter and unforgettable characters. But behind the comedy was always a complicated human story. And while Jim Carrey may have stepped away from Hollywood, one thing is certain. His legacy, and the questions he's raised about fame, success, and truth, are far from finished. Because sometimes the biggest story isn't the jokes we hear. It's the truth hiding behind the laughter. And before we come to the end of this video, I just want to take a moment to say a very big thank you to all of you for watching. Your time truly means a lot. In a world where there are thousands of videos you could be watching right now, the fact that you chose to spend a few minutes here with me on Hajararama TV is something I truly appreciate. This channel continues to grow because of viewers like you. Every view, every comment, and every bit of support helps this community become stronger. And that's what makes creating these videos so rewarding. If you enjoyed this video, please take a quick moment to like the video, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends or anyone who might enjoy this content. Your interaction really helps the channel reach more people who love stories, entertainment, and updates just like you do. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Hajararama TV, and turn on the notification bell so you'll always be among the first to know when a new video is uploaded. There are many more exciting videos coming your way very soon, and I would love for you to be part of this journey as the channel continues to grow. I also enjoy hearing your thoughts, so feel free to drop your opinions, ideas, or suggestions in the comment section. Your voice matters here, and your feedback helps make Hajararama TV even better. Once again, thank you so much for watching and for being part of this amazing community. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, stay entertained, and keep watching Hajararama TV.